Hey everyone, good to be with you tonight. How's everyone doing? Been following along in the chat. You seem to be doing all right. Good to be here tonight. Glad that you can all be here with me tonight. Super excited about that. It was close. I was having some trouble with YouTube tonight, trying to get everything configured all right, but got it figured out. And I've got a fun game. So who wants to play? Doesn't matter because we're going to play anyways. The game tonight, it's I think you'll enjoy it. Let me stall for just a moment so that I can configure some stuff here. The game it's called Buzzwords. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a little bit of time to give me some buzzwords, okay? So here's the game. It's called Buzzwords. What you're going to do is you're going to have to get furious on your keyboards or your devices. How do you get furious on a phone? I don't know. But you're going to have to figure it out because this is all about speed, okay? You want to see some real speed? You want to go fast? This is your time. So I'm going to put up a category on the screen, like wait, which direction is this? I can't figure it. There. Right there. So right where the buzzwords portion will be. There will be a category, and there's going to be a letter. Now, so let's just hypothetically say things that you would find in a church would be your category, and your letter is, I don't know, L. Okay? So you would then start typing furiously all the things that you could find in a church that starts with the letter L, like a lectern, or a light, or a library, because some churches have libraries. Okay, does that make sense? That all makes... Yeah, ladies! You could find Lynn and ladies in a church. Great job. You guys are going to do awesome at this game. I have no doubts. Okay? So I'm going to advance the slide, and then your first word is going to be on there along with the letter, okay? And I'll give you... Let me get my phone, and I'll give you like a minute to do it. And then I'll cut you off. Let's see. Clock and stopwatch. There we go. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Your word is objects in the house. The letter is D. Your time starts now. Objects in the house. And they have to start with the letter D. Objects in the house. The letter D. So we've got dog, door, drawer, drum if you have an instrumental family, a desk. Yes, good job, guys. Drinks. Door, dog, drinks. Oh, wow, you guys are good at this. Doorbell, dresser, desk, desktop computer, door, drawer. Wow, well done, everyone. You guys are good at this. I'm impressed. Let me see if I can think of any. 10 seconds left. If you've got anything more. I'm drawing a blank. Okay, time's up. So I'll reset the clock. And your new word is... Oh, dishwasher. Good one. Your new word, or your new category is... things you use at school that start with the letter B. Things you use at school that starts with the letter B. A bench, books. Yes, good, good. More. Things you use at school. Brendan. Maybe you get him to do your homework. Ballpoint pens. Yes. A brush. J bro, I'm assuming you mean the word because, like, you put it in a report or something. Banana. Box. Breakfast. Book. Yes. Basketball. Brunch. Now, Lynn, you don't use boys at school. The broom. Yes. Yes. Good work, everyone. Baskin Robbins. Yeah, those fancy schools, they've got Baskin Robbins in there. All right, good job. Your minute is over. Now, your next category and your next letter. Animals and insects, I guess, or insects, and the letter R. So, I mean, right off the top of my head, yeah, rats. Yes. Rabbits, good. Raccoons, yes. A rhino, nice. Reindeer, yes. Rodents, rabbit, rats. Yeah, we had all that. Rehabilitation, not quite. Rhino, what's that? I don't know what that is, Lynn. Rabbit, rabbit, raccoon, rabbit, wabbit. What about insects? Are there any insects? Insects with the R. Like a rune bug. No, that's not it. Yeah, reindeer, robin, Rudolph. A roach. Yes, good. Finally. I don't know any other insect. Trying to think. I don't know. Okay, next one. Your next word or category, movie titles that start with the letter K. Movie titles start with the letter K. You have no idea. It's not tough. Let me see. Knight's Tale, Kid in King Arthur's Court. These are all like classic movies. Let's see. King Kong, you get 2 points for that. That's a double K. Let's see. Karate Kid, yes! Another double point one. Knights of the Round Table. Will doesn't watch movies. That's sad. Someone should be smart and put Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3. All right, time's up with that. Let's see what's next. Okay, let's see how smart you guys are. The next category is cities and the letter T. Cities with the letter T. Toronto, yes. Tokyo, good. Any others? Tampa, yes, good. Taiwan, Tokyo, Toronto. Yes, we've all got Toronto already. Tampa Bay. How about Toledo? Um, that's all I can think of. Okay, last one for all the marbles. Your category is candy, and the letter is C. Candy, and the letter is C. Oh, Tallahassee. Nice. Cotton candy, yes. Candy cane. Both of those are double points for those. Crisps. I'm not familiar with crisps being candy. Creamsicles, that's like ice cream, not necessarily candy. Caramels, is it caramels or caramels? We just don't know. Colton candy, coffee crisp, chips. Chips are not candy, they're the chip variety. Cookies and cream chocolate, I'll accept that. Candy corn, definitely. Chocolate bars. Now, I come from the land down under, and by down under I mean the USA because it's down below Canada. And chocolate bars, we call them candy bars. So I have to accept that. Candy corn, yes, Kit Kat. I love it. Good job. All right, thanks for playing along with me. So, what we've got going on tonight, let's just talk about some announcement-y type of things. We'll go over the rules first and foremost. The rules are pretty easy. Respect yourself, respect the people in the chat. This live stream is brought to you courtesy of Cornerstone Wesleyan Church and is a service for the students of Cornerstone Wesleyan Church. However, given the nature of YouTube, I can't stop anyone else from watching this. So I will ask you to be respectful and don't go crazy in the chat. Don't spam emojis in the chat. Don't go really far off topic in the chat, but do participate. If I ask a question, feel free to engage in the chat. And we have our fearless leaders in the chat ready to mute and moderate any weird stuff that goes on in the chat. But I know you guys will do fine. You're all great students. Let's talk about Discord. If you're not already connected with our Discord server, go ahead and write down Stephen.Gilbert pound 3467. Send that guy a friend request and let him know who you are and what grade you're in, and you can be admitted into the Cornerstone Youth server. The Cornerstone Youth server is the best place for students to stay connected with our ministry. Inside that server are announcements for various things that are coming up in our youth ministry, as well as a whole horse. I tried to say host and horde at the same time, and it didn't turn out good. A whole host of other things going on as well. So get in it, and I think you'll love it. Let's talk about one conference because it's coming up in just doso deos. So let's spend some time here. Let's park our wagon outside the One Conference table. Here's everything that I know about One Conference and what we're going to be doing at One Conference. Okay, so I held off as long as I could about doing it all online, but it looks like just announced today that our lockdown is going to continue for another 2 weeks, and they have no intentions of getting you back into a public classroom together. So with that, we have to pivot and we have to go online only, but it's okay because that is a really good plan. Everything is going to take place Friday evening at 7 p.m. and you want to go to onecon, onecon.ca. Everything is going to be taking place there. They'll update that page at 7 o'clock. Probably 6:30, you'll want to start getting there and getting everything set up for that live stream. I have posted in our Discord, in the announcements channel, a link to a trivia sheet. You might want that. I don't know. You can put it on a device or you can print it out and have it with you as we go through. There's going to be an opportunity for some trivia along the way. So I recommend finding yourself a snack and finding the biggest screen in your house and taking it over and broadcasting OneCon there. Turn it up loud. You can either invite your family to watch it along with you, or you can kick them out of your living room and have the whole place to yourself. The choice is yours. And the whole program is going to be about 90 minutes long from what I'm told. Now, don't quote me on that. I'm just going based on what I hear. That's the best that I can give you. What it's going to be, there's going to be giveaways. They've got some awesome prizes. I've registered us as a group, so we have a chance of winning. There's going to be music by King's worship team. There's going to be 3 different speakers at it. And of course, there's going to be games and the trivia thing and who knows what else. So that's everything that I know about OneCon this year. After the show, I'm going to jump into the Discord voice chat channel. We can hang out for a little while and to just talk about what we experienced together. And should be a really good opportunity at that time. So I think that might actually be it for the announcement-y things. Yes, it is. Let's jump into our lesson. Well, we have been in this series now. This is week number 3 of our Anthem series. And the question that's on my mind tonight is, what song gets stuck in your head? What song is it? Write it in the chat. What song gets stuck in your head? And I apologize early if I make anyone have that song stuck in their head. There's a few songs that come to mind when I think about these types of songs that get stuck in my head. The first one is, I'll start singing it. It goes something like this. Somebody once told me the world was... Yeah, you get the idea. That song gets stuck in my head constantly, and I have to sing it out. Some other songs that get stuck in my head. This one's a really old one. Let me know if you know this song. It was originally from Lamb Chop's Play Along, which oddly enough, I started singing like 2 days ago, just randomly in my kitchen. And then this song gets stuck in my head. This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing and not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is... Anyways, it goes on ad nauseum. You get the idea. So I'm curious, what song has been stuck in your head recently? You know, those are both really good songs, and I don't totally mind having them stuck in my head all the time, as long as I get a good chance to annoy someone else in the process. But, you know, I can't say that I've ever, had an emotional connection with either of those 2 songs. I've never cried over those 2 songs. I've never had, a really deep connection with them. But the thing that I have had a really weirdly deep connection with is this song from Toy Story 2.
Hey, what you doing way up here?
I thought I'd get one last look at the sun before I get packed away again.
Look, Jesse, I know you hate me for leaving, but I have to go back. I'm still Andy's toy. Well, if you knew him, you'd understand. You see, Andy's...
Let me guess. Andy's a real special kid. And to him, you're his buddy, his best friend. And when Andy plays with you, it's like, even though you're not moving, you feel like you're alive. Because that's how he sees you.
How did you know that?
Because Emily was just the same. She was my whole world.
When somebody loved me, everything was beautiful. Every hour spent together lives within my heart. And when she was sad, I was there to dry her tears. And when she was happy, so was I. When she loved me.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Yeah, so I get emotionally attached to some of these movies. Up was another one that I cried through a little bit. You know, it's okay to be honest about these things. And who knew that a scene about toys could be so emotional? But that's often the power of music. It can help us experience, express, and process some really deep feelings. Has a song ever made you feel sad? What was it? Why did it make you feel sad? There was a time in my life when I was really little. At my family, we always got together and had these big family reunions. My dad is a child of 11 brothers and sisters, and so their whole family would get together. And my aunt, she would make these amazing homemade cookies, and then she'd put homemade ice cream in the middle and then sandwich it together, and she'd hand these out to all the grandkids. And so we'd be running around eating those. And I remember one year I was taking a bite of mine, and I bit down into it, and the ice cream, well, the cookies squeezed together, the ice cream shot out the back and landed in a puddle at my feet. And I remember, like, I don't know if I chewed that bite or if I even got through the cookie, but like I just broke down bawling, crying my eyes out because I had just dropped my ice cream out of my sandwich. And, you know, the things that made us sad as kids, they're probably not the same things that make us sad now. I mean, I'd still be pretty upset if I dropped my ice cream on the ground today, but I really hope that I probably don't cry about it. Instead, you know, the passing sadness of not getting a candy bar that we wanted or breaking our favorite toy, it's likely been replaced by pain and sadness that can oftentimes linger. You know, my sadness over dropping my ice cream may have lasted 5-10 minutes at the most, but I was probably distracted pretty quickly or offered a new one pretty quick. And that sadness didn't stay. But we're not really good at dealing with sadness. I mean, truthfully, sometimes we disguise our sadness with anger, with sarcasm, or callousness. We feel embarrassed about our sadness as if feeling sad means we're not strong or resilient. And we get overwhelmed by our sadness because we haven't learned how to manage certain big feelings. We ignore our sadness because we'd rather focus on feeling happy rather than deal with the things that make us sad. But tonight, we're going to talk about something called lament. And we're going to observe a few stories and songs in the Bible. Together, we're going to look at how these passages of the Bible can help us and give us words to say and maybe even give us hope in our sadness. So what is lament? Lament is a passionate expression of grief and sorrow. Lament is facing our sadness head on instead of ignoring it. Lamenting is feeling our sadness instead of numbing it, or working through our sadness instead of just trying to get over it. One particular time in my life where I really felt this lament, I was driving to church some Sunday morning a few years ago, and pulled over. My phone was ringing, so I pulled over to the side of the road, and it was my mom, and she had said, Stefan, I just wanted to let you know that your grandmother passed away this morning. And it's been some time since I've seen my grandmother. My whole family is from New York. extended family is all pretty much in New York. I'm the only person who's ventured outside the country and live in a new place. And so that was really hard to take that news, to hear that my grandmother had passed away, that maybe I didn't get to spend as much time as I wanted to with her in her final days. And I remember I was very sad about this, and we drove the rest of the way to church. We went to church that Sunday morning, and I remember the worship band played a new song that Sunday, and it was the song "Beautiful" by Phil Wickham. And I remember singing that song, and I remember coming to the last verse, and it talks about entering heaven, and it talks about the someday of crossing over into heaven. And I just felt this incredible sadness in my heart and this incredible weight, knowing that my grandmother is crossing over into heaven at that moment, but still the sadness that she's not here with me anymore. Sometimes, we have experiences like these, and sometimes we make the mistake of believing that we shouldn't feel certain emotions if we follow Jesus, or that somehow feeling sadness or grief or frustration or anger somehow means that we don't trust God or have enough faith. Or sometimes we think that following Jesus means we should always be full of joy and happy and hopeful and peaceful, except for the Bible tells us a very different story. You see, Scripture is filled with stories of people whose lives were really difficult, and they responded with a full range of emotions, from sadness, grief, frustration, anger. The last couple of weeks we've been talking about music, we've been talking about worship, and how the book of Psalms can help us discover how to connect with God. And you might think worship songs to God are always filled with joy or praise. They're songs of victory, but the book of Psalms contains worship songs that are filled with pain, grief, and even anger. Psalm 55 is one of many examples. It's a song in the Bible that expresses pain over being betrayed by a trusted friend. Let's read that together. Psalm 55 verse 1 says this: "For the choir director, a psalm of David, to be accompanied by a stringed instrument. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my cry for help. Please listen and answer me, for I am overwhelmed by my troubles. My enemies shout at me, making loud and wicked threats. They bring trouble on me and angrily hunt me down. My heart pounds in my chest. The terror of death assaults me. Fear and trembling overwhelm me, and I can't stop shaking. Oh, that I had wings like a dove, then I would fly away and rest. I would fly far away to the quiet of the wilderness." Interlude. "How quickly I would escape, far from this wild storm of hatred." I don't know about you, but I can feel the anguish, the distress in these sentences. These battle cries to God against the author's enemy. The author does not see a happy end in sight. They're deep in distress, and the psalmist is shouting to God, "I'm not okay with injustice. I'm not okay with this grief. I'm not okay with what happened, God." Our world is more connected than it ever has been in history, which means we're able to be much more aware of the tragedies happening in our community, in our country, and in the world. Because we live in such a broken world, we often see injustices like the powerful taking advantage of the vulnerable, a tragedy hitting good people, or physical and mental illness impacting loved ones, or injustice and pain everywhere. And the psalm is a lament for injustice. It is a faithful protest to God over the hard things that we face in this world, giving words to the psalmist's protests as well as to ours. You see, it expresses honest and, though uncomfortable, feelings. It teaches us that lament makes our worship honest. Let's take a look at another lament. Psalm 22, verses 1 and 2, it says, "For the choir director, a psalm of David, to be sung to the tune of Doe of the Dawn. My God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far away when I groan for help? Every day I call to you, my God, but you do not answer. Every night I lift my voice, but I find no relief." This is another song of lament. The psalmist David here is expressing more honest questions and pleas while feeling like everyone is out to get him. You see, lament is what happens when we experience something so difficult that we actually allow ourselves to wonder, God, where are you? Why have you abandoned me? Why won't you help me? Do you even hear me? And Psalm 22 doesn't ignore or shy away from life's dark moments or the doubt and despair that we can experience when things get difficult. But let's take a look at the very next psalm, another song written by David. Psalm 23, a psalm of David. "The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me." In this psalm, David acknowledges that life is sometimes dark and terrifying, even as he sings about God's peace and his protection. The confidence and peace found in this psalm don't negate the grief and the despair from the previous psalm. It's because of the darkness David experienced, not in spite of it, that he learned to trust God. When David felt alone, he learned to say, God is with me. When David felt forgotten, he learned to say, God guides me. When David was in need, he learned to say, God gives me everything I need. And when David felt exhausted, he learned to say, God makes me new. You see, it's easy to worship God when our lives are great, but we can find a way to worship even when things look bleak. When we acknowledge, question, or even protest the difficulties we experience, it doesn't mean that our faith is shallow. Instead, it can actually help our faith grow deeper. And these Psalms teach us that our worship of God shouldn't just happen during the best, the brightest, the most hopeful moments. Like the psalmist, we can worship even in the deepest valleys of fear and desperation, because lament makes our worship deeper. You know, after Jesus was betrayed and let down by the people that he loved, he was arrested, he was beaten, he was left to suffer and die. You know, it shouldn't be a surprise that he repeated the words of Psalm 22 while he was dying. Let's read Mark 15, verse 34. Mark 15, verse 34. It says this, "Then at 3:00, Jesus called out with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you abandoned me?" Here's what's so interesting about this moment. Jesus knew how his story would end. He knew it wouldn't end with the grave. He knew he'd live again, and that death would be defeated forever. But in this moment, Jesus still felt grief and despair. He suffered and was filled with sorrow. And he cries out these words. And by doing so, Jesus shows us how to be honest with the sadness that we all feel sometimes. Just as Jesus knew God was with him, even as he was dying, we can be assured that there's hope for us, even if we can't see it yet. There's another Psalm of David, Psalm 55, 22 through 23. And it says this: "Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. But you, O God, will send the wicked down to the pit of destruction. Murderers and liars will die young, but I am trusting you to save me." Sometimes trust is difficult. Sometimes it's hard to worship, but like David, we can trust that God knows our futures even when they feel dark, because lament makes us look for hope that we can't see yet. As this psalm reminds us, our hope is in the God who can always be trusted. From David to Jesus and so many more, we see so many examples in the Bible of people who don't shy away from pain, but they worship God right in the middle of it. And that's exactly the point. You see, sometimes life is painful, but we can worship even when it's difficult. And so what have you been through? What have you been through? What's one thing that you remember that was difficult? What's one way you see yourself growing or getting better through the difficulty? We said lament is understanding that God has used hard things to develop us, even if we still don't understand why we went through them. For some of us, these things can be extremely hard for us to remember. And for others, it can even be difficult to come up with something very significant or meaningful because your life just hasn't been that difficult. Some of the things that you think about can help you see how God was faithful and he brought you through. And others of us, we might be left wondering about the brokenness that we have been through, or maybe we're currently experiencing. For some of us, things have been broken and will someday be restored, but that waiting can be difficult. And so I'm going to lead us in just a moment of biblical lament. Now, remember, understand that for some, this exercise is going to be hard. It could be painful. Simply put, biblical lament is about being honest with God by praying and reflecting. It's not about saying the right words. It's not about being polite or inoffensive to God. It's not about impressing God with our faith. It's about being honest. Tonight, I want to give you a moment to pray, to talk to God about what you're lamenting over. And maybe tonight you need to write down your own thoughts as you think about these following ideas. I want you to think of a time that you felt like you were in a deep valley of difficulty. It could be either in your past or maybe it's your present right now. When was that for you? A time of deep darkness. And maybe think about a time that you were sad or felt an emotion that was confusing at the time, like anger or shock, maybe disappointment or helplessness. And then take some time and list the words that describe how you felt and what you experienced. Some of the most powerful songs of lament are protest songs. Not just for ourselves, but also for others. It's almost as if we're shaking our fist at God in frustration. So write down your thoughts as you deal with some of these questions. What's something that you're not okay with in your life? What are some things that you're not okay with in the world? What are some things that you're not okay with in your church, in your city, or in your school, or in your home? What are some things that break your heart? What's something that you've seen in the world that you can't unsee, but you wish you could? What's a pain that you can't unfeel? Chances are some of those things that you're thinking about or writing down are things that God has been waiting for you to lament over. Because lamenting, it makes your worship more honest. It makes your worship deeper. And it makes you look for a hope that you can't yet see. Remember, even Jesus shouted to God, "Why would you leave me like this?" God wants to hear your honest, your unfiltered heart, your feelings, your passions, your questions. So for the next few moments, I want you to be honest with God in whatever way you need to be. If you want to lament to God with someone by your side, you can pray with a friend or maybe your parent. If you prefer to write out your pain, you can post on Word in your computer. You can write something in Notepad on your phone. If you want to share it with someone, you can private message myself. Others of you, you might need to just sit and invite God into your thoughts and confusion about the world around you. You can do that quietly on your own. And maybe you're not quite sure how or what to lament right now, and that's okay. No one's forcing you to feel sad in these moments. Take some time and pray for your friends who are lamenting something right now. The next time you feel sadness, anger, grief, I hope you don't ignore it or just stuff it down somehow. I hope you don't feel embarrassed or overwhelmed by it. I hope you bring it to God in lament. It's an act of worship when you do that. You see, sometimes life, it's painful, but we can worship even when it's difficult. Let me pray for you. God, this is a tough lesson. Lament and intentionally spending time with things that make us sad, intentionally spending time with things that make us uncomfortable. God, would you be with us? Some of these students have things that they're lamenting right now. Some of our leaders are lamenting right now. God, would you wrap your loving arms around them? Would you give them the grace that they need? Would you give them an extra sense of your presence even now? Father, I pray that they would know that this is a safe place to talk, that we've created a Discord server where they can message us, that they can chat, they can talk. Help the students know that we as leaders are here for them, that we're praying for them, that we've got their back, that we're cheering them on. And God, give us the strength to go on. Lord, we love you and we thank you. And I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, guys. And I know that was a little bit more of a serious lesson, and I want to thank you for being really mature about it and being respectful through the chat. Yeah, I'm going to jump over into Discord. Feel free to jump in with me. If you are struggling with something right now, if you're going through a lamenting time, and it can be anything, and you need someone to talk to, I want you to know, take some time, talk with a parent. You have teachers at your school, counselors that are making themselves available at this time just to be with you and to help you through this. And I want you to know that I'm also here for you. If you want to private message me, if you want to call me, if you want to text me, do whatever you need to do. Get this information to someone who can help you through it. Yeah, we're all here for you. We love you guys, and we want the best for you. So yeah, join me over in Discord. Let's chat and hang out together. Thank you all so much for a great night, and see you later.